Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. As part of our answer writing series for general studies papers of Civil Services Mains Examination, we'll take up a question that might appear in GS paper 2. So here goes the question. Do you think that the language factor is no longer the sole determinants of new states? Discuss with examples what, in your opinion, are new factors that give rise to demand for new states. So, as we can see here, the question has two parts. In the first part, you have to provide your opinion on whether the language factor is important for as important for the demands of new states as it was earlier. And in the second part, which actually makes it clear that the language factor is just one among the many factors and wants you to give your opinion on the factors. It wants you to provide some of the factors which are determinants of demands of new states, and it wants you to give examples wherever applicable to support your argument. So how we introduce our answer? In my opinion, it would be better, it would be fit to go into the historical background of the evolution of the idea of linguistic states. We can begin with saying that the British had organized Indian provinces based on historical developments and to suit the needs of their colonial rule. And one more thing, if you are short of time in the actual paper, during the actual paper, you can simply move away with this whole paragraph and begin from this very place. But national movement recognized India's linguistic diversity, and this one is going to be very important, and please underline it. In 1920 itself, at its Nagpur session, Indian National Congress resolved to reorganize the provinces along linguistic lines. So when India became free, some of the measures were taken to create linguistic provinces. First was the constitution of Dhar Commission. Dhar Commission, which recommended organizing states as per administrative convenience rather according to the linguistic criterion. This was probably because the Dhar Commission thought it would not be advisable to create states on linguistic lines at it would lead to various forms of disunity, as well as it was not to be administratively feasible. So, however, as we know, but the government was forced by the intensity of public opinion, people sentiment, and we are actually not giving the example here, but you are probably aware of the self-sacrifice of Potti Sri Ramulu for the creation of Telugu language states out of Madras presidency, out of Madras province. So the government was forced to create the Fazl Ali Commission, which recognized adopting the language criterion to reorganize states. However, now the actual part of the question, we are taking the position that language is no longer the sole criterion. It has reduced in importance. However, the creation of Telangana and demands for Vidarbha prove that language alone cannot serve as determinant for creation of new states, because had it been so, Telangana would not have separated from Andhra Pradesh, neither there would have been demand for creation of Vidarbha from out of Maharashtra. When these two places, Telangana spoke the same language as the Andhrites, but different dialects. Similarly, Vidarbha people mostly speak Marathi, though of a different dialect. So we can see, as we can see, the adjoining graphic introduces some of the factors which give rise to demand for new estates apart from the linguistic factor. First one is economic factors. Uh, to give an example, development disparity. We probably understand this, that the Indian states are marked by inter-regional disparity. Some of the regions of even one state, of any one state probably, is far more developed than the other region. If we can give an example, the Mumbai metropolitan region is far more developed than Vidarbha. In fact, the Vidarbha is considered to be widely underdeveloped. So there is demand that if there was a separate state for Vidarbha, the new government could focus more on developing Vidarbha itself. Then administrative factors. Some of the states are too large to govern. We obviously know that some of the Indian states have population larger than many other nations actually. So these states are too large to govern, and having a smaller entities, smaller states would make them better to govern. Then socio-cultural factors like identity, tribal identity, racial identity, etc. We also have political factors. Some groups actually understand it, they have this understanding that creation of smaller states will give them better shot at power, as they would become regionally dominant. Strategic factors. For an example, securing support of border areas, as we will see later. Now we will take up these factors in detail. The first one is economic factors. Disparity in development parameters can give rise to demands for new states. As demands for a separate Telangana and a separate Vidarbha is based on this sentiment of economic neglect, as we have already discussed. Then comes administrative factors. There are empirical evidence that smaller states are better governed, and there are demands for division of Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Rajasthan, and so on are based mostly on this understanding. Also, there are some socio-cultural factors which come into play, like identities. Demand for division of Manipur, which we know has led to tragic consequences, including mind-numbing, heart-breaking violence, and creation of Gondwana for the tribal people residing in present-day Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and parts of Maharashtra, is based on the sentiment of a separate socio-cultural identity like tribal identity, etc. Next comes political factors. Smaller states give regionally dominant groups a better sort at power. We can understand that when some groups may not be dominant across the state, but they are regionally dominant, and when these very regions are created into separate states, these groups will become dominant players in the politics of those states. And the example being the agricultural castes of western UP. We are not mentioning them, but castes like Jats, Gurjars, Tyagis, etc. Agricultural castes of western Uttar Pradesh have this understanding while demanding the creation of Harit Pradesh out of Uttar Pradesh. Then come strategic factors. A populace, we are taking this position that a populace which is happy is the best defense for the nation. We are arguing that a population whose demands are met is likely to be a better defense against foreign aggression. And this was one of the reasons Ladakh's demand for a separate union territory status was conceded. So these were some of the factors apart from the linguistic factors which have become determinant for demands of linguistic states. How we sum up our answer? Actually, you can understand from the reading of your question that the question nowhere says that the linguistic factor is no longer important. What it actually says that the linguistic factor is no longer as important as it was previously, and other factors have also come into play. So we can, for example, conclude with saying that this is not to say that linguistic factors do not need to be considered as demands for Tulu Nadu out of Karnataka and Mithilanchal out of Bihar, etc. However, economic, administrative, socio-cultural, strategic factors, etc. to have begun underlining state reorganization demand. This is how we sum up our answer. But before we call it a day, we would once again encourage you to write your own model answer of the questions that we discuss here in the comment section below. We would try to evaluate them as far as practicable. In that way, you will have a better understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, and you could work on your weaknesses as well as try to consolidate your strengths before the actual examination. We wish you all the best. Thank you.